There's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl brings the book and the member show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. A little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show at GMP. Hey, Gumpers.
Hola, bom dia, alegria. Munson here with the Good Morning Portugal show, live stream and podcast, the first of 2024. And let me bring onto the stage, I think I'm just about remembering how to do this, Mrs. M. That worked, didn't it?
Good morning.
May I say how fabulous you're looking this morning?
You may,
We
yes.
went to bed at, what, about 2 this morning? We've
Yes.
not been up, we've not been asleep for very long, and also not been up for very long.
Yeah.
So if you are in a similar condition, do let us know in the chat. It'd be lovely to see who's here this morning as we ease our way back into live streaming and into this new year. What are your impressions so far as you look out of the window? And
Well, it
look
looks
at
like it's going to be a beautiful day, actually.
Yeah, but of the year.
Oh, so far.
Can you tell it's a
in
new
the-
year by looking out the window?
No, I can't.
You see, that's the thing, isn't it?
Oh, you're so
It's an
snarky.
entirely abstract. However, lots of people the world over came together, didn't they, to acknowledge the drawing a line.
And lots of people acknowledge that there's a significance to it.
So, including?
Well, I mean, there are astrologers out there that do forecasts,
Including?
and if you're
No, hold on a
interested
minute, hold
in
on.
your forecast, I can pop a little link into the chat.
You're an astrologer.
Yeah,
Right, you
did
kept
you not
that
know
quiet.
that?
Blimey. Okay. No, I'm just talking about the third. I'm perhaps sounding a little bit churlish. It might be because I haven't had a lot of sleep.
We haven't had a coffee yet, have we?
I was making the point yesterday on social media, same old, and I won't use the word I used on social media, but same old hoo-ha about this particular night in time. Is there an astrological real significance of the 31st of January? Because we know, don't we, when we decode Christmas time, we know that it's loosely based around the solstice, isn't it, the 21st of December?
Yeah.
And the historical figure Christ, of course, was thought to be born on the 25th of December. And there are quite a lot of things coming
Well,
together.
there's lots of people say he was actually born in September.
Exactly, yeah. And, once you start digging around and having a look at these things. And similarly, the 31st of December coming in, from one year to another is entirely made up, isn't it? According to is it the Gregorian calendar?
No idea.
Now that said, thank you for doing your research this morning. That said,
well, you could have told me,
I
and
could
I'd
have
have
sent a
researched
memo.
it.
I could have sent a memo. That said, it is important, if only because lots of people say it's important.
Yes, and that's when it grows in importance. If lots of people believe the same thing,
yes,
then all of a sudden you get some kind of Annie's here. Hello,
an
Annie.
effect. Good morning to you and to George and all the animals at your house. Happy New Year to you, Annie. Thank you for being here. Let's say a few hellos actually and come back to this significant moment and how people are looking forward. Well, drawing a line under.
I think that's a good practice, drawing a line.
Oh, isn't it just? Yeah, because I'm churlish about that as well. But anyway, I'll come back to that. Coach Turner's in. Look at him. He's hitting the ground running. He's got his trainers on and some nice 80s tube socks. I'm imagining him. Some nice tight shorts. I don't know why I'm imagining this.
Yeah, why?
I don't know.
That's a bit bizarre.
A singlet, perhaps.
How do you know he's in?
Is it because
have you got a photo?
No. It's just my mind's eye.
Oh my god!
Do you want to have a look at my mind's
eye?
No.
You're creating people in short.
I think it's.
tight
Do you know why?
shorts.
It's because we watched Maestro
Ah.
and Leonard Bernstein. I mean, the way
He's
they
rubbed off on you a little bit.
Leonard.
I think he'd like to.
No one is allowed to rub off on me without my permission. Okay.
I'm giggling and
even
like
though I'm in show business.
I'm wiping my eyes
kind of.
and giggling as if I've had a skinful last night.
Isn't that interesting?
And the irony is, I just haven't. My eyes are just kind of like, whoa.
So maybe the hangovers you've had in the past weren't hangovers. They are this, and you had alcohol, and not because you had alcohol.
Maybe.
See, you don't know. There's no
Oh.
control group, is there, with these hangovers?
No.
And who's got a hangover this morning? Who'd like me to talk more quietly this morning? Because I'm not going to.
We went and we celebrated the New Year with some
What's
friends,
this?
and
That's a nice, easy URL, isn't it?
And they were very, very, very drunk. And I imagine they're having a massive hangover today.
Yes. How much can we say about our neighbour who we were with?
Well, they're really nice people, and they were partying. They were partying like Germans.
Yes. Right. But when it came, what a legend!
Yes, absolute legend.
We are
still
going
standing
out.
just before midnight.
Still standing. Only just. Is your phone okay? Right, okay. All right. Let's say a few
welcome
hellos.
to people.
Coach Turner is in, and the only reason I'm imagining him in tight, very brief running shorts and a singlet, and with a great big tash and perm, is because we watched Maestro. It's called, isn't it? Yeah. What an extraordinary movie, Bradley Cooper.
Good. That was good.
Good job, Bradley Cooper. Extraordinarily done. And I have to say, I didn't come away whistling any Leonard Bernstein music.
No, I wouldn't be able to recognize.
I mean, what an incredible story to be told. But I'm no bigger a fan of Leonard Bernstein than I was, which I wasn't when I started watching the movie. But what an incredible production.
Yeah.
And young Carey Mulligan, who was also superb as co-star. So Oscar nominations from me, at the very least. Oh, look, you look like you've gone to sleep already. It's your camera. Your camera's got a hangover, that's for sure.
I can't get over how bleary-eyed I look.
You look beautiful, if I may say so. You don't look at all bleary-eyed. I know you might feel it, and my eyes are a little sandpapery this morning. And I have a little confession to make.
What?
I was awoken by the sound of a cat scratching some furniture.
Yeah.
And he was on the ridge of the sofa that is at the bottom of our bed.
Yeah.
And I got a pillow and I took him out with one swift move. And then I woke up again a little bit later to see him staring at me from the top shelf like Batman, but more like the Joker than Batman with what I was thinking he was going through his head at that time. He didn't take that. I mean, if they will scratch the furniture, they are going to get a water pistol. We haven't got a water pistol. I mean, I know some people will think that's very cruel.
You know, we had one in our house with new kittens.
Yeah, what, a water pistol?
Yeah.
Did it work?
Yeah, totally.
Okay, because it's not working so far.
Yeah, well, we can't water pistol in that area because of
it's technology. There'll be oh gosh, and there'll be another reason for me to.
Come on, let's check in. Let's check in.
Coach Turner with his tight shorts is in, and he's got a God Squad tip of the day. James is in. He'll be joining us around 9 this morning as well. He'll ask you this himself. Come on, Bom Ano Novo. T-Duck, the legendary T-Duck. Great to see you both. Just recently, Bon Dia Alegria Campus, Bom Ano Novo from you as well. Come back to your comments and the dad jokes hitting that ground. He's hitting our funny bone with some dad jokes. Well, we'll see if that's the case or not a little bit later on. I'm sure they are very good, and some of you will be seeing them. Others who are not here live and hearing this on the podcast will be, I'm sure, already anticipating some fabulous dad jokes to start the new year. T-Duck went to bed before 10 and still slept. Legend. Party animal.
We've done that before. I love that.
I'm going back to bed after this. Nubianet, Happy New Year. All the bombs, fireworks are keeping me. Bombs. I mean, that's how loud they are, aren't they? Last night, and that's the opening sequence this morning was from San Martino.
Nubianet will still be going through the new year. It's what, 2 a.m. where you are? What are you doing up still? Is that just because of the fireworks?
Yeah, I imagine so. It sounds
you.
Awful. And yeah, I mean, I couldn't help but thinking last night when the fireworks were going off, there are people in war zones at the moment. It's just slightly, there's an irony there, isn't there?
Yeah.
And there were a lot of bangs and explosions in the sky. That was a weird moment, was it not, Mrs. M, at the San Martino de Porto celebrations? They do it brilliantly in the Bay here. I mean, it's a natural amphitheatre, isn't it, for a fireworks display?
But what was weird about it?
The two first fireworks, which I don't think were part of the official display. We saw the bomberos scrambling about 20 minutes before blues and twos on the go. And just as well, because before the fireworks started, there was that lull, wasn't there? And I don't know if it was a dramatic sort of show busy type pause before the fireworks started exploding in the sky, and the display started in earnest, as it were. But a drone went up first, didn't it?
Yeah. I mean, that's always really creepy.
And I'm thinking, is that the first of 200 drones in the sky? Is it going to be an electronic display this year? No, it was traditional, very traditional, gunpowder type fireworks. And then a flare went up, didn't it? I thought this
Was
fireworks.
it a flag or a
Well, this
firework?
fireworks taking a very long time to explode into
it
a
looked-
million pieces in the sky.
It looked like this bright red firework that
It looked like
went
a
up.
distress flare to me, and then it landed on somebody's balcony. Didn't it, in the
So it went
distance?
up, and then it didn't, like, it failed to explode and delight, and it just
It
went.
was never going to.
Okay,
it
so
was a
you're
flare.
saying it was but why would they do flares?
Because Portuguese people love fireworks
Oh,
of any kind.
okay.
They love big bangs, big lights. They like a bang. They do like a bang, don't they? And these were big red flares.
Yeah.
One on
But
each side of the bay.
Yeah, they like two went up in different directions and landed in the town, which
is not the best of ideas. Is it? It's not the best way for those two people whose gardens those flares landed in. Or maybe it's lucky here.
I don't know.
Maybe we're not up to speed on a particular tradition here. If the lucky red flare lands in your garden,
yeah, do you get like off,
extra?
You don't have to pay tax for a year or something.
Maybe I'll check on the finances portal after the show to see if that's
Blimey,
the case.
it's 12:41 in California.
Okay,
Bless you.
Happy New Year to you. Yeah, and so because you're still celebrating, let's do the quick checklist after we've said a few more hellos on whether you celebrated the New Year in the true Portuguese style. So the three wise men of the Gunpocalypse. Great to see you here, gentlemen. You've made it into another year. Well done, 2024. Nubian at 12:41 in California. We've got Annie with us, and lots of love to you and George and all your creatures there. Colleen, Feliz Ano Novo, whose lovely meme, basically, I borrowed Colleen because I think it's a good one. Here's a resolution from Colleen. I think this is yours. More sleep, more music, more tea, more books, more sunsets, more creating, more long walks, more laughter, more hugs, more dreaming, more road trips, more fun, more love. Sounds right, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That should be the sort of prescription you get from a doctor. I think that'd be great, wouldn't it? And who else is with us this morning? Yeah, Nubianette, and we'll come back to more. Please say hi if you're watching. We are easing our way into the new year, and we are open to what you're glad to see the back of, perhaps in 23, and what you're looking forward to in the new year. If this, and we're here now. If I were still writing checks, I'd still be putting 23 on them because I'm still not feeling it yet.
See, I did it the other way around this year. I have no idea why. Because normally, like, you know, when I'm working all the way through January, I'm still writing 2023. But I think because I've been doing forecasts for 2024 for the last month, I've already gone there in my head.
Ah, very good.
That's been quite helpful.
Head of the game.
Yeah.
Okay, look, if a flare lands on your balcony, you win a visit from the Rush. Hi, guys. Yeah. Here's a calendar. Well, failed the first resolution on the first day. What's that then? He's a resolution to not make a resolution, perhaps. I'm not sure, or vice versa. Let's then have a look to see if we celebrated.
You were talking
correctly.
about significance, and I don't think January the 31st is, in the 1st of January astrologically is a good day ever to start any New Year's resolutions.
Oh, can we leave that hanging there?
Sure.
Like an ominous astrological bad smell for a minute. Because look, Portuguese New Year's. I've not seen this lady before. This is Catarina, Portuguese Affair, a blog. It's vaguely familiar, but it's not one we visit very often. Oh, she says, thanks for checking out A Portuguese Affair. I'm Catarina, a proud Portuguese blogger. Blogging is such a terrible word, isn't it? Nothing, no offense.
Why?
I was just going off for a blog.
Oh, okay.
It just doesn't. It's an ugly word, isn't it? I'm a blogger myself, a blogger and a vlogger, but it's not the most attractive of words.
What would you like it to be?
Doesn't sound as nice as journal, does it? I'm going to enter something into my journal, dear. I'll be in the study.
Okay.
Or I'm if you see me fags and coffee, I'm off for a blog.
Yeah.
It's not the same as it. Learn more about this blog in the about section. Yeah, I'd have figured that out myself. Come back and visit me often, says Katerina, who here. And she wrote this when we were first in Portugal back in 2017. I wonder if she's still blogging, actually. I've not checked. Portuguese New Year's Eve traditions you should try. Money, money, money. Mm-hmm. I've sung that on stage in Panto.
Yeah.
It's a rich man's world. Well, that was a good entry onto the stage, even if I say so myself. Don't make the mistake of ringing in the new year with empty pockets or risk spending the rest of the year in the exact same way. According to superstition, having cash in your pockets will bring you money in the next year. That makes sense, doesn't it, on all sorts of levels?
And we wedged up, didn't we, before we went out?
We gave the children €1 each just to make sure.
I gave the youngest one €2.
We had some of these golden raisins, didn't we?
Yep.
We made little packets, didn't we, to give out to other people. That didn't happen in the end.
No.
So I ate my 12 raisins
Me too.
a little bit after because I was busy live
Filming.
streaming and filming. But you ate yours with the kids?
Yeah. And
all
before I
the
ate
12th
them,
dong?
yeah, absolutely, before the 12th dong.
Yeah.
And in my head, I said this one's for the whole family, just in case nobody else could manage
That's
it.
nice. Okay, so you're meant to eat 12 raisins. It used to be grapes, but I think probably the EU might have banned that because it was quite dangerous.
Might be a choking risk.
Yeah, choking risk there. So if you haven't done it already, you can still time, isn't there? To probably it's pinch punch first of the month sort of thing.
Oh, crikey, yeah.
I can imagine that people might do this before midday today. But it might remind them of all the wine they drank. Listeners might not want to. Pots and pans.
Oh, we didn't do that, did we?
No, we didn't. And we didn't hear anyone else doing it either, did we?
No.
What were people doing? What were our Portuguese neighbours and associates
Everyone
doing?
was getting absolutely hammered.
Were they?
Yeah.
Is that what you noticed?
Yeah. Is that what I noticed? So our evening went like this. We popped up the road.
People getting hammered.
To see people getting hammered.
Hammer time.
Hammer time. And also singing karaoke. And it was brilliant. It was epic. And then we walked up the road and there were just like loads of people. Obviously, people weren't partying so much in town. Loads and loads of people were coming to watch the fireworks. And they were already really tanked up with cans in hand. I've not really seen I've not really seen Portuguese people like that.
Oh, really?
But there were lots of youngsters getting absolutely wasted.
Binging, perhaps.
Yeah. Almost like Western culture has really caught up with them.
Yeah.
I was quite surprised.
But not much banging of the pots and pans.
But you know what? It was all one thing I did notice, and it was all really jovial. So even though everyone was quite hammered, it was still very lighthearted. There wasn't one of those
no rowdiness.
Yeah, there wasn't a sort of feeling of maliciousness or
underlying threat of violence.
Yes, that's exactly what I was trying to say. There was no underlying threat of violence. It just felt slightly like things could get fun.
Rather than go downwards. The spiral was heading upwards. Wasn't
Definitely,
it?
the spiral was heading upwards.
What a lovely way of looking at it.
Yeah, yes, but the other thing I noticed was, like in the UK, people will just hug a stranger, don't they?
Snog quite a lot, it has to be said.
I remember once, New Year, when I was about 14 or 15,
right.
We were celebrating at my nan's, and like midnight, everyone piled onto the streets. And some hunky stranger snogged me, and it was like I was 14, but looking much older.
I bet you were delighted, weren't you?
I was delighted and shocked,
yes.
Like really, like ooh. I had no idea what was going on.
I might try that again.
Never happened again.
Hopefully not have to wait a whole year for that.
But like there was I didn't notice anyone snogging, hugging, and going like a bit like your weird uncle at Christmas. Who's a bit too touchy feely. There was none of that going on.
Good.
But there was. It was
well, that didn't happen to me. I'm so glad to say. Right.
But it was just very light-hearted and very boozy.
Yeah, and I saw a couple on the way back from the celebrations, and they had a little basket with an empty bottle of champagne in it and 2 glasses, and they must have taken. They'd taken a bottle of fizz, probably a Portuguese Espumante, to be fair, and enjoyed themselves, watched the fireworks. You also commented, didn't you, that a lot of people just went and watched the fireworks.
Yeah.
They were obviously put on at great expense.
Yes.
And then went home again.
Yeah.
Didn't get involved in spending any money.
I don't think, we didn't see what was going on the beach. We were at the top, at the top elevation where we could see stuff. So all the big spenders, I imagine, were down at the beach.
And incomers to the town.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think a lot of locals were up on the top bit. And we're locals and we can't reveal the exact location now of that. I'm sorry.
But I think a lot of people were enjoying the fireworks for free.
Very good.
Which is,
they're right and progressive.
Absolutely.
Well, they have paid tax.
They have. We all have. We've all paid for that.
Yeah. I don't think of it as free anymore.
No. and it was quite a display. It was pretty good.
Okay.
Do you know what I really noticed?
What's
like
that?
This was the first time we'd really gone out with our kids to see fireworks. It just hasn't kind of happened. So much. Like
we shall we, shan't we? We weren't sure, were we?
But like when I was thinking about fireworks when I was like 7 or 8, with my parents at Fireworks Day and other events, we would have this long trudge, to the wreck, or like the waste ground,
muddy fireworks.
Yeah. And then and it would seem really, really big and really, really important and boomy and whatnot. Yeah. But we had space between each firework to guess which color it was, and if you Do you remember
Were
doing
they
that?
were they in color, or were your
They-
fireworks in black and white?
They were in color.
Right,
So we'd
okay.
be like, it's gonna be red. It's gonna be red. Oh, it's green. It's gonna be blue.
Happy
No,
times.
and-
Things
and-
were definitely simpler.
But you there's no way in hell you could do that last night because it was like
It was total overload.
like you couldn't you couldn't single out any
They
firework.
will be drones at some point. This
Yeah.
won't continue.
And there were no like Catherine wheels that suddenly failed.
Catherine, I mean, if they were to have a Catherine wheel for this generation, it would have to be big as a Ferris wheel, wouldn't it? Like, there's no way. You'd have to give everyone binoculars to see a Ferris wheel. It's over there at Celia de Porto. The guy is lighting it now. Oh, it's not lighting. He's just having to pull the wick out a bit more. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
That's how bad fireworks were.
Fireworks used to be very, very risky.
And like Dad and Mum shouting out, "Don't go! Just leave it. Put it in the bucket of water." No. I've spent 3 bob on this. I'm definitely going to make it light. Those were the days, weren't they?
Yeah, when people got their
Dad-
eyebrows burnt off.
Yeah, and Dad trying to make a firework light for half an hour,
Yeah.
and then a Catherine wheel that he'd not attached to a post very well. It didn't actually spin, did it? By the time he
Yeah.
got to light it, it just stayed still,
Yeah.
and that was it. It was like, ooh.
So I wonder where you all celebrated last
yeah.
night.
Let's get back to
Like,
this.
let's come
let's
out
get
of like
back
the
to this
70s sitcom and bring it back into the
tight shorts,
2024.
tight shorts, Catherine wheels, and the banging of pots and pans, which it sounds like we didn't have very much of. So, thank you very much to Catarina and Portuguese Affair for that. João de Norte is here, passing along several greetings from friends. Happy now here. There we go. Happy now here. I like that. Happy few fears. Happy new beers. That's
Very
good, isn't it?
good.
All right. So you were talking about the first. We got actually God's God tip of the day to come. We've got dad jokes. We've got all sorts. We've got James joining us at 9. Before then, astrologically, you would say what?
First of all, I'd just like to acknowledge what T-Duck's saying.
You're giggling.
I hate more than 12 raisins. Of course, sorry, I ate more than 12 raisins. Of course, they were soaked in Tanqueray. That was my grandmother's
Go, Grandma.
That was her remedy.
Yeah.
That is the way to
Did it
eat 12
help with
raisins,
her
isn't it?
arthritis? Nope. But did she enjoy eating them? Yes.
Yes.
And so did everybody else, quite frankly. So that was
That's a good
definitely
top
an
tip.
I ate
Top tip
more
for
than 12 raisins.
2025.
Very good, T-Duck.
Soaked
Excellent
raisins.
stuff. Catherine's here as well. Good morning to you, the Whitbys in the south of the country. Bom Ano Novo a todos. Sarah Yerman, bon dia, feliz ano novo. Pam Smith, good morning to you. Bom Ano Novo, great to see you here, Pam, as well. Good to see you. And João de Norte, yes, that's a wonderful greeting. Happy now here. Happy few beers. Happy few fears. Happy new beers. Is that John Lennon who wrote that? Oh, and that was his earlier greeting. Bon dia, feliz ano novo. Right, 1st of January then.
Yeah.
Not a good time to start a year. Is that what you're saying?
It's a weird time to start New Year's resolutions. I mean, it's an arbitrary like line drawn in the sand, and it's got nothing personal. Like, you know, it's a line that's been drawn in the sand for everybody to adhere to.
Yeah, it's not a solstice of any or an equinox, is it?
It's just a time. It's a point, but like from an
It's
astrological
a diary entry.
Yeah, from an astrological perspective, everybody's coding is very, very different according to the exact time, place, and date of their birth. And so there are really, really good times that you could choose to use to start a new way of being. And it doesn't necessarily happen on a yearly basis. You might find, you know, there is like one particular year out of every 5 that really, really works well for you.
Mhm.
And it starts in April. So I just think these broad brush strokes, you know, like this massive, like this is what we're all doing, is not necessarily effective.
But you couldn't do it any other way, could you? Because if everyone had started their own new year personally, which I suppose they do on their birthday, but still they share that with lots of other people.
Well, actually,
don't
that's a much better time to start a New Year's resolution around the time of your birthday.
they? Right.
Because the sun has got back to the exact spot it was in at the time, place, and date of your birth, and it's like you are revolving. You know, it's like the energies are going around you again. It's a really nice metaphor.
Okay.
But there's a point every month, which is also another good time to start new things, and that's when the moon gets back to the exact place it was in at the time, place, and date of your birth. So, for instance, if you're born with like your moon at 9 degrees in the sign of Cancer, each time the moon gets to 9 Cancer, that marks the new start of your month.
Okay.
So they're naturally really good times, easy times.
And the sun sign forecast, the year ahead is all available on your astrology channel.
I've put links in already.
Yes, thank you.
I bombed the chat room with links.
Very
But
good.
if you just go to YouTube and type in Feel Good Astrology, there's a forecast. If you know your ascendant sign, then just click on the sign associated with that and you'll find it.
And you're good to go. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the Cancerians are already moaning, aren't they?
Not moaning. They're saying, "Oh,
Poor me.
thank goodness, I need a better year."
That's not a very nice caricature of me and my Cancerian buddies, is it? Right. Hola, Malta from Barandi. Look, he says, see you later this month, I can say now. I was saying yesterday, see you next year. I can say, see you at the end of the month. We're going to the Strong Beers Festival in Coimbra, I believe, at the end of the month.
Oh.
We've been invited by Royal Decree.
Royal Decree, what's that mean?
The organisers
Okay.
said you come back. And the piece that I wrote up in the Portugal Resident about Coimbra included that and some coverage of the Epicura Brewery, who we were. The last time I saw Bayer Andy was in that bar. He should be called Bar Andy, frankly. Hola Malta, Bom Ano Novo 24 from a bright and breezy Bournemouth. He's in Bournemouth.
Oh, wow.
Which would be a nice place to be. You like
yeah,
Bournemouth,
absolutely.
don't you?
I've had a few New Year's in Bournemouth. In fact, I celebrated the Millennium.
Have they got a place they call it Hangover Goodsbury Head there?
Hengistbury Head.
Not Hangoversbury Head. Okay.
Hengistbury Head.
Back to my...
That is a good place to observe fireworks from.
I bet it
Hengistbury Head.
is.
I used to fly my kite up there. It's beautiful.
Right. Back to my Bairrada tomorrow. Listen to him. He just sounds like the Lucifer, doesn't he? Back to my beloved Bairrada tomorrow. Well, enjoy the journey back home and have a great new year. You and to all of you. Actually, when I'm giving individual greetings here, please extend that to your loved ones, you and yours. He can't wait. I think that's either to be back in the Bairrada. Oh, no, that's to be in Coimbra at the Strong Beers Festival. A good name for a beer festival. Mrs. M's gone to sleep for a moment.
Really?
Why does it always freeze when you've got your eyes shut?
I don't know, but yeah, I go like that normally and I get frozen.
Yeah, it just looks like you're having a little snooze at the moment.
Yeah,
It occurs to me
I could do with a snooze.
that it would be more logical for the first day of the new year. It should be on the day after the winter equinox. So you think, yes, of course.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah. Or well, I mean, the astrological New Year starts at the spring equinox. So it actually starts on the 21st of March.
Okay, but I mean, the point I think John's making there is that it make it a natural thing rather than just something that the
or the Chinese New Year goes on new moons.
See, that's my beef. Our whole world seems to be designed by marketing people and people who print diaries.
Yeah, well, I mean,
and
to be fair, the
Chinese
new moon and the whole idea of the astrological New Year based on equinoxes and that, I mean, that's based on astronomical data.
Astronomical.
Yeah.
That's marketing again, isn't it? I never start New Year resolutions on 1st of January. Too much pressure. I always see my birthday as a time for a new start. There you go. A natural.
Well done.
A natural. Smash that like button, says.
I think that's really, really wise because, like, the worst thing you want to do is start your new year feeling disappointed in the first week and frustrated. Like, I mean,
some people love that though. They they want to start the year the way they mean to go on.
But I think we should have a little bit more kindness for ourselves. And
oh, that's a nice resolution.
Yeah, I mean, and that's an easy resolution.
There can't be a single person watching or in the world who couldn't do with giving themselves a little more kindness, can there?
You can never have too much kindness, I don't think.
No, it's true, isn't it?
Just like be kind to yourself.
That would be quite a good experiment, though, and I'm offering myself up as the subject of that experiment. The man who they tried to be too kind to. It's a book. It's a movie. It's a whole concept, isn't it? Right there.
Yeah.
I'm sitting and waiting, everyone. Right, let's play his music because he's going to join us after this. Yes, come on, James.
Bon dia, Feliz Ano Novo.
Somebody's happy.
Oh, you got your card. You got carded.
My driver's license. Happy New Year.
Wow.
Did Santa bring that for you?
Well, it was a little early, about a week before Christmas. But yes, it only took 20 months, so I didn't meet Thunderduck's record on that of over 2 years.
Look, driver license. It's the simple things in life, isn't it? It really is. Congrats! Look at this, an outpouring of joy.
Woo! Where's my fireworks?
Yes. Woo! All right. Driving license.
So what a way to start the new year.
Have you been out yet?
Sorry, I didn't.
Have you got a car? Are you going to be driving?
No.
That's another 20
For me, the license was important. My hope is to never need to own a car in Portugal. I went 15 years in Santa Cruz without a car because public transportation worked just fine for me and for what I needed to do. But there are areas of Portugal that are very, well, let's say much more difficult to access without a car than on public transportation, the train mostly. So my plan was, I'll have this license so that if I want to rent a car, I can do that and I can drive legally. So I don't know that if I had had the license.
James, I want to ask you a question. Do you not worry about not having driven for like so many years? Because I've barely driven for 10 years and I'm getting ready. I've just got some glasses so I can, see where I'm going, that was my first step. But I'm going to start practicing. For me, I don't think I could just go and hire a car and get in the car and drive or feel safe doing it. I want to have a little bit of a practice before I get back behind the wheel. Well, what are you doing? Like, what thought process are you going through?
Hold on a minute. I'm just making notes. If you could talk slowly, because I'm writing a guide to the elder expat on the roads of Portugal. Step 1,
another project.
Step 2, glasses. Get glasses. Right.
Step 2, Mr. Magoo.
Step 3, then, James.
I hadn't even thought of it before, and now I'm really scared. No.
Happy New Year. That's my gift to you.
Not at all. Not at all.
So
I don't know. It's having driven, since I was 16 years old, it's a lot of years of driving and it's like riding a bike or anything else. You just get in and do it. And for me, it's no different than being in a brand new car. Even if I've been driving, I need to orient myself to the vehicle I'm in. So it's only that kind of orientation, spatial orientation for me. I thought I would run into that because I had my first standard transmission in years and years and years, because everyone in the United States drives with automatics, right? The automatic transmission, and it's hard to find a what do you call it? Stick shift, yes. Yeah. So when I finally got a new car, I said, I want a stick shift. I enjoy driving with a clutch and a shift and having something to do other than just sort of sit there and hit the gas. Who
doesn't like a clutch and a shift first thing in the morning, eh?
But it had been probably 30 years since I'd driven a stick. So I had that same kind of apprehension, like, man, I don't know. I haven't done this for years. I'm going to need to give myself some practice. And I did. I found an empty church parking lot on a Tuesday morning or something. And I got in there and I said, it's just like I'd never left. I didn't need practice. It was just there. Yeah. So
I was
going to
say, you could have done it on a Sunday in a church, but that's different in Portugal, isn't it? I'm thinking about English churches. The car park would have been empty on a Sunday as well.
Okay. Yeah. Well, in the United States, then we do it more like Portugal.
Okay.
Well, there's always a little car park nearby, isn't there? So
yeah.
That's for the camper vans, Dutch camper vans.
Our little is, yeah.
Okay.
And to be honest, I've spent the last 2+ years in Portugal studying driving, because I ride with Sidonio and Luisa a lot. So I'm looking at the lines on the road and go, why is he going around the roundabout to go into that? Why didn't you just take a left-hand turn? Oh, there's a white line in the road. Can't do that here. Yes. Noticing all these marks on the side where there's intersections that I've never seen before. What are those? What are those? That they seem to be, they're at every time there's a street that comes out here is to signal the driver that could be crossing traffic. So, okay. So learning, reading the road signs, watching the behavior. I even read about roundabouts because I wanted to be able to manage that correctly on my bicycle. What is, I read bicycle law in Portugal to figure out what am I supposed to do.
If you're cycling quite a bit, that's probably really all the preparation you need, isn't it? Because you're already observing the rules of the road.
You get a heightened sense of being on the road, that's for sure.
Yeah,
and for me, that was the bigger challenge.
You're on the road.
Yeah. Well, and I think Portuguese drivers, their reputation is to be different to what you might be used to, and very respectful of cyclists, generally speaking. Sarah Yerman, who's with us this morning, has cycled extensively around Portugal and has found it a good place to cycle. And you wouldn't necessarily think so, would you? With the driving style that the Portuguese have, you wouldn't think they would be respectful towards cyclists. But they've probably been cyclists as youngsters, and maybe that's what helps.
Well, there is an aspect, I don't know where it goes with the driving, as I have noticed there's some strange stuff that happens with other people driving.
Just stop in the middle of the road and then start a conversation with somebody on the pavement.
Or just park your truck in the middle of a lane because you need to unload it. Things like that. It's like, to be fair, Sidonio is a very safe driver, and he's a very, very level human being, good-spirited, kind, friendly, good sense of humor. And the car, like me, very much like me, the car is the only place where he'll get like noticeably angry at something.
Yeah.
And he'll just sort of start muttering to himself if someone does something stupid. He's like, He doesn't change his driving, which is great. But
Portuguese women get across all the road rage incidents that I've been involved in, and it's not that many to be fair. But like I think probably 3 notable times someone's bawled me out, which I think is the American phrase. All been women who've done that.
We almost got mowed down last night by a drunk woman.
That was a man.
Was it?
Driving that
I should have my glasses.
You were the drunk woman there, I think. But he did stop, to be fair.
Yeah, right at the last minute. As he was about to pile into our family.
The gravel
is that equivalent to I almost got hit by a car when I almost fell in the road?
we wisely stopped. This guy is not stopping, but he did right at the last minute. He decided to stop, and we were very grateful for that. Look, yes, Sarah is here and saying cycling road conditions here are terrific compared with the US. That's good to know. And Pam is slightly anxious about driving in the UK in June. The traffic and the wrong side of the road. Oh, and Susie's just in. Good day.
No, I've not done that. I'm curious. I would like to have that experience, but it's like,
what driving
what is
in
it
the
like
UK?
when you're driving in a mirror reflection? That's essentially what it is.
Well, it's like New Year's Eve.
Like, don't you drive on the same side of the road as the Brits in America?
No.
You drive on the same side of the road as the Portuguese?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's only former British colonies that drive on your side of the road anymore.
Which America isn't anymore.
Okay.
We're not anymore. Well, I guess we were a former colony, but yeah.
Yes.
India and Japan and I don't know where else. Those seem to be the 3 places in the world where people drive on the left side that I know of.
Yeah.
Actually, I think in Indonesia we drove on that side of the road.
But you drove on the side you wanted, didn't you?
That's right. Because some countries they drive on whatever side they want to drive on. It doesn't matter.
Here's one way of dealing with it. I just drive down the middle. That is an option as well. You're never on the wrong side.
That's right.
You're on both of the wrong sides with that approach. Jim is here. Bon dia todos y Bom Ano Novo. We will come back. If anyone who's got a New Year's resolution to get fitter, we will come back to the God Squad tip of the day. And we got some more fireworks from Owen. Thank you, Owen, for your video. As a seasoned driver, imagine him with like a Pam just grinding some freshly ground black pepper on his head as he gets into the car. As a seasoned driver, I find I was hoping for a bigger laugh.
No.
I find the biggest challenge in Portugal. Bit of rock salt?
No.
Okay. I find the biggest challenge in Portugal for me is watching for suicidal pedestrians. Yes, now pedestrians act differently because they know the law is on their side. I believe if you hurt somebody on the road, you are liable, which you probably are in most countries, but to some great degree, I believe, here in Portugal, at night, all in black on a narrow street with no sidewalk nor shoulder. Yes, and therein lies a greater respect for the pedestrian here in Portugal as well. Good point there, Chardonnay. I have noticed that.
I mean, that's quite an interesting thing to observe, because like in the UK, we have pavements usually between houses and the road. And that was one of the first observations I made when we came to Portugal was, where are the pavements? Like, where do people walk?
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
My wife likes driving in the West Indies. You meant to say Jamaica.
Jamaica.
No, she wanted to.
Boo.
And over there, they drive on the left in Jamaica. Oh, come on. It's the first.
This is a compliment to a dad joke.
Okay, thank you
That's
very
a
much.
compliment.
Australia and South Africa also. That was in my wedding speech, wasn't it?
Yeah.
All of those.
Do you know they drive on the left in Genoa?
Thank you, very good. Geneva. Genoa. What was the other one? Jamaica. No. Australia and South Africa also drive on wrong. You can't call it the wrong side. It's the right side to them, Pam. If you drive, I mean, the point I was going to make about this, if I can speak, is it's like the 31st of December, isn't it? If everyone's doing it, it makes it easier. And that's part of civilization and society, I guess. It doesn't make it right, but it makes it what everyone's doing, and it makes it easier if everyone does a similar thing. By Randy, I always drive with me in the middle of the road. On a motorbike, it's a bit more. Yes, I remember driving and seeing you before I knew you. You're that guy who we encountered in the Bairrada there. And in the US Virgin Islands, they drive on the left using cars from the mainland with steering wheels on the left. They seem to cope just fine. But
okay, there's one I'd never heard of.
Yeah, interesting. And you never know what people are going to attach themselves to in the conversational threads of the Good Morning Portugal show. What I wanted to ask you, James, is you've been adopted, basically. And it occurred to me this is a very good source of material for a book or a film one day. The American who was adopted by a Portuguese family. It's a fascinating story. How was Christmas in that regard?
I'm only laughing because it wasn't a whole lot different than my previous experiences of Christmas. And of course, this has been my third round for Christmas and New Year's here. Because I always, the introvert in me enjoys time to myself. Holidays are not a big deal. I don't go out and party. Going to a crowded town full of noise and people is not my idea of a good time. So, staying home and having a quiet evening is like, this is nice. I like this. And for me, it helps me to be mindful on the New Year, especially one of the things I realized is what's important to me on New Year's Eve is remembering the first thing that happened in the new year. So if the memory is that I spent time with family or close friends, enjoying good conversation, that to me is like, what a great memory. This is how I brought in the new year. So I'm absolutely not your typical partying holiday celebrator type person. And Sidonio and Louisa are, I think, more like that than people inclined to go out and want to go be at a party somewhere. They like to do it at home. And I think my sense is that's more a Portuguese thing too, that the holidays, Christmas anyway, especially, is about family. So it's being close with family. It may be a big party because you may have a big family, but in this case, the family is fairly small. So, and I always get invited to be part of it because frankly, I am a part of the family now. They are family to me. So, and I to them. So
well, you are the Paddington. You are the. I don't know if you're familiar with the storyline of Paddington Bear, but his mother, I think, put him on a boat from Peru, I believe, with a little label around his neck. Please look after this bear. And a family in London did that, didn't they? They found him at Paddington. He kind of ended up in Paddington Station, and that's how he got his name. And then was looked after by a British family. And had his marmalade sandwiches and all that sort of stuff. And that's you, isn't it? But instead of marmalade sandwiches, it's going to be bacalhau, isn't it? Possibly. And we can use this whole storyline of you, please look after this American in a little duffel coat and some wellies. And then being found on, I don't know, which Portuguese or Lisboa railway station should we name you after? What do you want to be called? Do you want to be Santa Apollonia? Do you want
Well,
to be...
I was actually very proudly, there's traditions in various cultures where you spend time with the people or the culture, and at some point they give you a name.
Oh,
Familiar
wow.
with that process?
Yes.
What do you think?
Well, Sidonio gave me my Portuguese name. He says,
what is it?
I'm, and so did João Ferreira. They both said, well, actually, I guess Sidonio did. He adopted João's. João said, from now on, I'm going to call you Jaime.
Jaime.
Jaime. He says, you know what your Portuguese name is, don't you? I said, I think I do. I think I remember that. And he says, it's Jaime. I'm going to call you Jaime from now on. So now on, whenever you hear someone call you Jaime, you'll know it's me. I said, wonderful, thank you.
That's a scene from the movie right there, isn't it?
Yeah.
He can play himself, so to speak.
And he had, I don't think he had any idea in the moment how proud I felt. It's like, oh, wow, this is so cool. And then I told Sidonio that story. So now every time I get in the car, Sidonio always gets the car ready for Luisa to go. He's the chauffeur of the family. So whenever a car is needed, she has a license, she drives, but he does all the driving. So, and typically I get in the car before Luisa does. And he's now saying, bon dia, Jaime, like that. There's always with a sort of a laugh in his voice. He's having fun with it, but it's still fun.
That is a moment. Yeah. That is a special Portuguese moment. Anyone else here been christened in that way with a Portuguese name? I mean, you're looking at Luisa, Jaime, and Carlos on your screen this morning. Anyone else want to join us with that? Some are easier than others, aren't they, with this approach?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of fun actually that both our names are also Portuguese.
Yeah, that's right.
That's quite lucky.
Actually, I mean, there's a translation to names everywhere, but yours are much closer. Yes.
I have to say that I was mistaken for a Portuguese man at our last networking dinner. And it took quite a while for this guy to disabuse himself of the fact that I was Portuguese. And I'm thinking of getting ID cards for people like myself who constantly thought of to be Portuguese. Well, I can just get it out. This man is not Portuguese.
What you need is a lanyard. Like
you could just get it tattooed on your forehead. Not Portuguese.
If I go for citizenship, I'm going to have laser surgery, aren't I? I could just take off the knot bit, couldn't I? Or put a plaster over that.
And walk around with your mug that says "Be Portuguese" about it. That would be very confusing for people.
We don't need more confusion, do we? Oh, Pete's in as well. Morning. Good afternoon, should I say. Bon dia, what a wonderful day. Pete looking across the land. He's seeing young deer frolicking on his land.
I love that. That's a great word.
Frolicking. Who doesn't like a good frolic first thing in the morning? And a 7.5 earthquake in Japan with a tsunami warning. International news coming in. And Oriko is here. Good evening. Sorry, good morning. I don't know why I said that. Muito bom dia. Probably because it still feels like the evening, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Muito bom dia. E o desejo de excelente 2024 para todos. Abraços from Oriko and our other new Portuguese friend, our pal, Carl and Co. are live this morning. Absolutely, Roy. Just because it's a public holiday here in Portugal doesn't mean we're not live streaming. Glad to see this in my YouTube feed. Excellent. And by Randy, I often call myself the Portuguese Andre. Now, that's got a real gigolo ring to it, hasn't it? When he announced, that's a tight shorts name for sure, isn't it? Portuguese Andre.
Yeah.
As the Portuguese find it easy to pronounce.
I was listening to a podcast yesterday, and this psychologist from, I don't know, Harvard or somewhere was talking about the importance of names and how people who've got easy to pronounce names that everyone knows how to pronounce it, they do better in life because apparently there was some studies done and they were saying that there was somebody like looking to recruit people and they sent a lot of fake CVs to them with different names on to see who would get selected. So they picked people with the same experience, same qualifications, but gave one an easy to pronounce name and one a difficult name, and they always went for the easy to pronounce name because people would much rather address the people they're talking to. And so if there's
make life easy,
if there's any doubt that you're gonna if you are worried that you're going to pronounce the name wrong, you won't bother. And so you're more likely to
people
engage.
Like Ignatia have been unemployed for years for example.
Well, I was so I was thinking, oh, that's weird, and then I realised through my whole childhood, people didn't know how to say Louisa
They
because
still don't, do they?
no,
Louise.
Yeah, like in England, I just spent most of my childhood being called Louise or Lisa because people just couldn't get it, and now I'm in the land of Louisa.
Life has just got easier, hasn't it?
Well, actually, no, because people know I'm English, and so they just assume I'm a Louise, not Louisa.
This is why my mother.
And in England, they wouldn't go with Lou because Lou is something they would do in the United States, but there's the association with the bat. Yeah,
I do have a few people that like message me, "Hey Lou, how you doing?"
Yeah, funny.
Don't call me Lou.
Then I was thinking about our children, our children, Digby, Minnie, and Solomon. Nobody gets their names. They'd be much better off called Steve, Claire, and Mark.
Alan's solid, isn't it? Lots of Portuguese people call me Palmeira. That's good, isn't it? So Pamela becomes Palmeira, which makes me think of delicious wine. That's a good association.
I had an Italian friend called Pamela.
Okay.
Well, when you think about it, John is probably one of the most used first names in the world, or some equivalent of John. Yeah.
João, Jean. And,
I love Pete Bleach.
Jean.
Pedro Blanco.
That is a good name. Again,
Pedro Blanco.
He's from the Portuguese Cluedo kit. It's lead piping library, Pete. Pretty easy. Pedro Blanco sounds kind of cooler too. It's true, but Bleach is a pretty cool name as well, isn't it? And I often call myself, he's Portuguese Andre. We did that. So we've got Pedro Blanco, Portuguese Andre, like in this, and Pamarella, I think we might go with.
Pamela.
But my favorite was Pamarella. People trying to say your name. Keep those coming. They're excellent. João de Nort, obviously, in early with he rechristened himself, I believe. Oh, Pedro Ligivia.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Are you Italian?
Ligivia.
Paddington, lovely film. If Paddington was real these days, he would probably die in London. There's a cheerful thought.
Stepped on
in the streets,
in the gutter. Poor Paddington.
It is sandwich.
He's from, I suppose he spoilt it for himself in a way, didn't he? Because it's like if someone saw a bear at Paddington now, they would just think, well, you should be rich and living in a nice Georgian house along the road. The novelty's worn off. He's ruined it for himself. If you have any issues, just shout Maria. Pretty much everyone female and maybe the occasional male.
Yeah.
Well, I just read, interestingly, you know how they do these surveys, and I just read that in the last year's survey of the most common male and female names given to babies.
Oh yeah, excellent.
The male was Francisco, which surprised me. I was expecting João. So in 20 years, Francisco may replace João because that's all the adults will be that name.
Named after anyone in particular? Is there Pope Francisco? What
I don't think so. Well, I mean, there's a saint for sure. There's a saint with so many names, and that's close to where I came from in California. There's all those saint names for cities, But Maria was the #1 female name and has been since 2007 or something, like 15 years running. And I go, well, so that was kind of my joke. It's like in Portugal, if you need someone's attention, either shout João or shout Maria.
Absolutely.
But now, 20 years from now, you'll have to shout Francisco.
You will, but there might be a Maria in there somewhere, because if it's not the first name, it might be one of the compounded names.
It might be one of the 8 names.
And that can be male or female. I think you can be a Maria, can't you, in your name somewhere if you're male, to acknowledge a female antecedent relative.
I think so. As Marias often have a João in there somewhere.
Exactly, Maria João. See, okay, Coach Turner. Then, for anyone who wants to get fitter this year, and we will talk more about the advantages, disadvantages of resolutions. You off, Mrs. M? She's slamming down the headphones. We're talking about getting fit, and she's going.
No, the power's gone. So I'm going to make coffee.
Oh, the power's gone on that computer. I can still see you. Interestingly,
really?
This is like proper TV where you can be seen, and that face you just made at me, everyone could see that. So
Which face was that?
are you gone? If you could plug that in, that would be great. I don't know why. I thought no, I haven't plugged it in. You're right. So if you plug that back in, we'll get you back on after you
I'll
bring
tell
back
you
some
what,
hot, steamy coffee.
I will get some coffee.
Excellent. All right. And we'll say thank you for the time being to Mrs. M. And we will look. I know this isn't necessarily for you, James. As soon as I said anyone who wants to get fit, you started shaking your head. No, it's okay. Thanks. But some do. Okay. And if you do,
I need to be fit. I don't know that I want to, but I need to. So I do
That's
it.
an
I
interesting
do what I
position.
need to do.
Okay, well, maybe reading this then will give you the inspiration required. Bom dia,
Let's
feliz
see.
ano novo. Hope you are well and have had a wonderful week of festivities. I'm currently in Cromer on the North Norfolk coast, looking forward. That's the stomping ground of Alan Partridge, I think, isn't it? Looking forward to the famous fireworks on the pier. Looking forward. Do they have them tonight then rather than on New Year's Eve? Or was that really late last night? Maybe that was really late last night.
Well, Norfolk reminded me of the Firth of Forth, and then when you add famous,
Yes.
if you add the famous fireworks to Firth of Forth, I was like, wow, that would be fun.
They should do them on the 4th, shouldn't they? Or February.
Yeah, that would be great. The 4th of February. That'll make it perfect.
Help us out here, coach. You're looking forward to the fireworks. Okay. Or maybe that's next year or the end of this year. God's got tip of the
Or
day
maybe
then.
that's just because they were in front of him. I mean, who knows?
Or he's really messed it up with the he thinks it's New Year's Eve today. He's been
That
enjoying
could be.
himself he's
So
so relaxed
much.
in Norfolk that he's
So
told his whole
informed.
family that the fireworks are tonight and he is going to be in so much trouble later on.
Where were you?
Yes. What was all that noise last night? I'm sure I knew it. We finished last year focusing on walking. So that's an easy start then. So I thought this week not an easy start. We're going to hit the year running. We're going to talk about it, if not do it. As always, if you're unsure, this is the standard caveat. If you're unsure about your health, check with your doctor and start slowly, which is what I do every time I go to make love now. Try and add a few 1-minute efforts. That's also like my love life. Try and add a few 1-minute efforts of jogging into your walk and build up to running 1 minute on and 1 minute off. Fartlek in the bedroom. Once you're comfortable,
It's too late. You're stuck there. You're not coming back.
And again, I can see another book franchise in this intermittent jogging. Once you're comfortable,
Fartlek.
Hold on, right? Let me just compose myself. I thought you were making coffee. Try and add a few 1-minute efforts of jogging into your walk and build up to running 1 minute and 1 minute off. Okay, so that doesn't sound too onerous. Once you're comfortable with that, and then do it in the supermarket for added effect and drama. Once you're comfortable with that, then begin to extend the run and actually do a lap of honor in Continent, because this is a special moment for people who haven't done anything like this for years. I recommend a short lap of honor. Probably not in the olive oil section in case there's been a spillage, but maybe in the more in the vegetable section or the bread. You should be able to talk easily while running. So if that's not possible, then slow down. That's a good marker. Very thoughtful, Coach Turner. Thank you. We'll look at a little technique tomorrow, how to run correctly and efficiently. Superb. Thank you. So that's for you if you're thinking of getting fitter. And you said, James, that you failed the first one here, more sleep. Should we go through these for the benefit of everybody here this morning?
Why
And I
not?
know, before we do, you're not a fan. As a psychotherapist, you are not, and as a coach to people, a life coach and advisor generally on people's lifestyle and so on, and you are here because it's Monday and you are a mindful Monday man when it comes to migration. You're not a big fan of the resolution to kick off the year.
No, not as the definition would define a resolution. I'm all about changing. I mean, that's life. And especially if you're struggling and you don't want to struggle anymore, change needs to happen. So yeah. I'm not anti-change. I'm not anti-improvement over one's life. But I don't believe that resolutions as a thing work.
No, fair enough. As people prove year after year, and still they give it a go. But the urge, I think, like you say, the urge can be admired, can't it? The wish to change and transform is essentially a good one.
Yeah, I would say maybe the resolution is a good start.
Yeah,
it raises your awareness. You go, oh, I realize I would like to do this, But if that's as far as I ever go, it's the power of 12-step program in alcohol and other abuse. It's really one day at a time. It doesn't work to say I'm done forever. I'm going to do this from now on is not generally not going to work. Occasionally it does. Some people do that and they do it, but it's very rare. Most people succeed by saying, I'm going to do that now. I'm going to do that today. And then tomorrow I'm going to make the same choice. And one day at a time, I'm going to get into eventually a habit. But to declare it, especially on, as you said, a token holiday, well, not token per se, but
nominal.
And it's not really arbitrary either, but it's like, because it's January 1st, it's like life doesn't care that it's January 1st. Life just, it's like, who cares? So, but if you got to find a day to do something, I think that's the power of birthdays and other days, is it does raise our awareness, at least at that moment, to say, ooh, that's right, I can make a choice. And I'm more aware of that now than I might be next Wednesday.
So true. And this is my, not beef exactly, but I came up with this phrase, and I know this sounds very nihilistic and negative, but I did have this sense of peak meaninglessness. It does sound very negative and nihilistic, doesn't it? But all of these things that are just chosen because of the calendar and because we've always done them become more and more hollow as each year passes, don't they? Because people, if it's just a kind of hollow ritual and it has no deep or profound meaning for people and is more stressful than it is a blessing in people's lives, this might mark the transition away from those things. Because I was thinking it was quite primitive last night. The fireworks were very impressive, but they are quite a primitive form of celebration, aren't they? The sea in San Martino must be filled with the debris of thousands of fireworks now. And presumably it will go to drones, won't it, at some point? And the Christmas dinner will change. There's all sorts of reasons why that will change. And so the point I'm making is, we some of these things come and go in history, don't they? And we might be in a part of history where they are on the way out rather than on the way in and being deeply and profoundly enjoyed by people. And that, I'm not saying they should go for that reason.
No, I understand.
There's inevitability about it, isn't there?
Well, I think when it comes to human arrogance in general, this is one of the reasons I love the astrophysicists that do things on Facebook, because they talk about this insignificance, and they talk about the arrogance of assuming we're the most intelligent form of life in the virtually infinite cosmos. It's like, that is pretty arrogant. And then Bill Nye talks about me as a human on this planet, I'm just a speck of dust. I'm just a speck on this planet, and this planet is just a speck in the universe. So I'm a speck on a speck. So this notion of being significant is like, just puts me kind of back in my place. I mean, it fascinates me. I'm in awe of it as well. But it's like, okay, get over yourself.
Yeah, well, that contradiction is good, isn't it? That tension, if you like, between the beauty of things and the consideration of, is this still profound or not? These are good. I think these are good processes to be going through, and we can't stop them either, can we? This is what's going on.
No, and that's what I was going to say. Historically, what we're doing for Christmas has been a blip. I mean, even in human existence, if you assume human existence 10,000 years, how long has a Christmas celebration been?
Yeah,
maximum 2024.
Which is a tiny little time frame. And also, from our Christian-centric point of view, it seems big. But of course, it's not for many other millions, perhaps billions of people, interestingly. So,
which is why, you look at the Chinese restaurants in the United States and in America. They're the only places that are open on Christmas, or New Year's. I mean, that's changing too, for profit. It's like, there's a lot of people out there who would like to go to a restaurant on Christmas Day, but Chinese Christmas is not a thing. It's just not a part of the culture.
Well, it's an opportunity to serve people who do celebrate Christmas and don't want to cook to serve them a particular kind of Christmas meal. So the interesting point, Pam, I think families can develop their own traditions these days and dip in and out of the mainstream. These are the times we're in, aren't we? In so many ways, I think these are the times that we're in. So thank you for that. And that's what I was thinking. You know, we reinvented Halloween for ourselves when we were in Portugal. That was one of the great things about moving country, actually, is it becomes easier to redefine and reimagine, rethink these celebrations, because you're away from some of the factors that hold them very dear and steady. As an expat, a foreigner, as someone who's moved abroad, you can come up with your own ideas. And we did that for Halloween, because that revolves around a very real thing, doesn't it? Of the veils between the worlds, and you know that the night of the Day of the Dead, and you know the night of the thin veils is profound, I think, and something useful to teach kids. And of course, those things are there. At the beginning of a new year, you can still talk about the profundity of drawing a line from what's gone behind you, the past, and what you would hope to do in the future. And on a Mindful Migration Monday, perhaps talk about how you might spend more time in the present, doing the list of things that Colleen put forward here. So let's go through this checklist, James. Do you fancy sleeping more this year?
No, not sleeping more. I'm just, the joke I made was about, I've blown that one on the first day because I didn't get more sleep last night. So I wake up on my day going, oh, my resolution, more sleep. I didn't do that.
Why did I choose to do that on New Year's Eve?
And so many people, this is the thing that I lose. Oh, I screwed that up. Never mind. I'll just get it off. I already blew it, right? I blew that.
More music, that would have you could have hit the ground running with that one. There's a lot of music
absolutely.
Last night. More tea. I've started to drink loose leaf Earl Grey. So that's a check for me there. Do you like a tea? Are you a tea or a coffee guy? I've never asked you that.
I'm definitely more coffee. I have coffee, not a lot, but I have at least a cup of coffee every day. And tea is kind of when I feel like it. Kind of if I'm cold at night, a nice cup of hot tea is nice for me. Herbal tea, not caffeinated, because that would keep me awake. But yeah, more coffee than tea. I could live without tea, I think, without missing it. Coffee, I would. It'd take a long time to get over missing it.
Okay. Thank you, Pete, for sending the video. We'll squeeze that in. We've only got 20 minutes until 10 o'clock. How amazing. This year. That's flown by. Thank you, everybody, for being with us this morning to see the new year in. This is like our GMP first footing. The back door has been opened to let the old year out, and the front door is wide open. The front door to Gumperdom is wide open and ready for the community to have a fabulous 2024. More books then. Do you still read, James? Does anyone still read?
I do, but not so much books. It's mostly, well, a lot of it's gone digital, but
you still
journals,
read.
Magazines, and mostly self-help stuff. I mean, I've read a lot in my life, but I don't know. I don't sit down with a book anymore.
Interesting. I wonder if anyone's going to resolve to do that. Sitting down with a book. I can't remember the last time I did that. It was fairly recently because I thought I'd try it and see what it was like. Because it had been so long, but it's not something I've continued with.
Right, I'll read articles digitally, but I don't read books digitally because I love the tactile experience of holding a book and turning pages and things like that. Right. I just don't get that same feedback from on a screen.
You really don't, do you? It's very interesting sociologically. Pam reads books. There you go. More sunsets. Well, aren't we blessed?
Past tense. You don't know in English. More like I read books.
I read books once upon a time. I had a farm in Africa and I read books. Right. Okay. I think she probably does read books. And
I think so, yes.
There was talk of a book club, which could be useful because I'm sure a lot of people are also going to be reading Portuguese and learning Portuguese. So there's still an opening for that this year. More sunsets is an easy one here in Portugal. We're very blessed with that, aren't we? And I know you are in Ericeira. You're going to get sunsets whether you like it or not, James, frankly.
Mm-hmm.
More creative.
I always like it.
Would you say you're a creative person? Are you going to be doing any of those sort of handicraft hobby type things this year?
I think we get confused around the word creating. I think people think, if I don't paint and I don't sculpt, then I'm not creative. But you can be a creative writer, you can be a creative thinker, you can creative problem solver. There's all kinds of ways that we're creative. I'm not sure that it's possible to be human and not be creative in some way.
Right. Exactly.
But, so yes, I create.
Right, this is definitely one for me. Sorry to interrupt there, but yeah, you are. Yes, definitely. And I take your point about being creative. It's like you can't not be creative as a human being, can you? We're always creating something or other, for better or for worse.
Some people create drama. I mean,
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you want to? What else do you want to create?
Yes. Yeah, we are essentially creative beings, aren't we? And I guess maybe the distinction there is what exactly might we create in this year ahead? More long walks. I'm definitely going to do this. I elongated my walking distances anyway last year, and I'm going to take it a stage further. I'm going to go for some very long walks, I think, from San Martino as my epicenter, and I'm going to venture out. And I imagine myself with a backpack on, with a packed lunch, some stout walking boots. Maybe I'm overdoing it, and that's what's going to stop me. This can happen.
On your way to Faro.
Not that long. What about you? You like a hike, don't you? I know you're.
I would do well to just take long off of that at this point. It's definitely something that I imagined I would do more of. But again, owning the lazy in me, I don't like the hills. It's too much work, so I don't do it. Right. If I was in a flatter area, at least I tell myself I would walk more. I love walking. I just don't like sweating and falling down because it's exhausting. It's like
I don't like sweating and falling down. Brilliant.
Yeah,
okay.
I don't like being exhausted, so I have to find a way to be able to walk and not feel my knees hurting and be struggling for breath and all the rest of it.
Yeah, they're not such. No one's going to want more of that this coming year, are they? Oh, we are getting book fans. Look, as you are, John, I'm indulging myself these days, rereading the entire Sherlock Holmes anthology. Picture,
there's a project.
Rainy evening, and a book through. Who doesn't like 3 inches late in the evening, especially a rainy, cozy one by the fireplace? And T-Duck, a shared love of the Sherlock Holmes. There, my dear Watson, elementary. More laughter, more hugs. I think we can see ourselves, especially with this Portuguese summer of love idea that I'm hoping to promote, the bit after the Carnation Revolution, because of course that's coming this year. Carnation Revolution, 50-year celebrations and a new government, and I propose a Portuguese summer of love. And I think we can count on the Gumpers, can't we, James, for more laughter and more hugs, whether they be real or virtual. That's us, I think, isn't it? Sums us up.
Yeah, and laughter comes easily for me. So I don't know that needs to be on my list, but it's a good reminder. Keep laughing, keep being funny, or at least thinking you're funny.
That's enough, isn't it?
Yeah.
In the mirror.
And hugs is definitely, it's being a solo in a new country where virtually everyone is a stranger. There's a lot less hugs since I've been here, but that will improve with time.
Yep. Okay. More beer, more cigarettes, more coffee. That's not actually on the meme, but that's what Lee McGrady's hoping for, and I'm sure he'll do a very good job with that. Good morning, people. He says, and a happy new year as well. So more dreaming. Do you approve of fantasizing and projecting into the future in this way? I think people should be a lot more practical, frankly.
Yeah, it's all about the money, man. Who needs dreams? Just make money.
Chop, busy.
No, I like creating. I don't know if it's possibly human without being a dreamer. Some people, I imagine, have had that almost literally beaten out of them, which is very unfortunate. But dreaming is something we do. We imagine better things. We imagine better places. I think that's how we improve life in general. And I think that's, I'm hoping that's the trend historically, that we're doing more of that, dreaming more and accomplishing more.
Yes. Now that does connect with my Portuguese Summer of Love manifesto, because I do think there's a bit of a vacuum of hope at the moment for some, generally speaking. So in that vacuum, nature abhors a vacuum. I think humans do as well. And there is a famous inspirational quote, isn't there? Without a vision, people perish. So yes, more dreaming from that point of view. Thank you, Colleen, for this list. More road trips. That's definitely a thing, isn't it, for Gumpers? Getting to see more of Portugal. We're going to Braga in May. We'll be in Caldas having a lovely curry and filming it on the 17th of January, and going to the Coimbra Strong Beer Festival at the end of the month. Have you got any trips planned around Portugal? Has anyone else? Let us know in the chat. What about you, James? Where are you going?
I'm just laughing because I have an unintended trip that I'm attempting to schedule, and that's to get my residency renewed.
Wow, living the dream.
It's like the appointments are all online. If you try to find a phone number, nobody answers. And at this point, when I first got online to try this, they had like 7 or 8 different locations in the country, and a couple of them had 2 or 3. So probably 10 different places you could go. And every single one of them, when you clicked it as a choice, it said no appointments available for this location. Every single location throughout the country. And I did this repeatedly, every couple of minutes, every day for a week, and nothing. Right. But so then you get to the place of, well, okay, Faro is a location. I'm in Ericeira. I'll take an appointment in Faro if it's open, and I'll just take a little vacation. So, that's why I laughed. More road trips. Yeah, definitely. Just to get my residency renewed. I'll travel. Yes.
Well, I'm visualizing that, more dreaming of you holding that card up on the screen. You've got your driver's license now, so
it will happen. It's such a different way of managing these types of things. I said bureaucracy is bureaucracy. It doesn't matter where you go. It pretty much sucks, but it sucks in different ways. And in the United States, my experience, it's not difficult to get an appointment. It may take 5 years to actually go see someone, but you'll know that 5 years in advance because you'll get your appointment when you call to make an appointment. That kind of thing. Here, you have to do it every day, over and over and over and over and over until it's finally accomplished. So maybe there's a sense of accomplishment at the end of that, but there's a lot of anxiety between that's in that space.
It is true. And if you're struggling with anything like that, you can always come and see us on a Monday, and we'll do our best to put your mind at rest on Mindful Migration Monday. First show of the year. James is here. We're looking at this list of kind of resolutions, but these are nice affirmations as much as anything else.
Intentions, hopes, things that you would like to do.
And Mrs. M also with us. We can hear you, Mrs. M, if you want to mutter in the background. And you can't see yourself. You put your laptop back on there.
Let's
switch it back on, and we'll bring you onto the stage in just a moment then. And you can go to Porto for a hug. There's another road trip then. It's a long way to go for a hug, but I'm sure it's worth it with Jim.
Well, and Jim and Connie and Hank are 3 reliable hug sources when I go up north. So
who doesn't like a bit of hug sauce?
And you and Louisa when I visit your area of the world. Yes.
A good dry cleaner should be able to get rid of hug sauce.
Hug sauce. Oh my God.
Hug sauce. Pam and I are also enjoying reading Portuguese children's books. The Elephant in the Room, learning more Portuguese this year. Come on, everybody, we can do this. We've got this. Okay, that's a good way of doing it.
Isn't that the title of one of the books, The Elephant in the Room?
It is, which is
I don't even know elephant
or Elefanta em casa.
In casa?
Yeah, possibly. My New Year's resolution is to eat out in a new restaurant every month. That is lovely. What a great idea. I would like to do that every day, quite frankly. Let me get that list off. Thank you. I kind of do. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Right. We can see you, Mrs. M, so don't make faces at me. Well, you can if you like. But
there you go. Yeah, make all the faces you like.
Make all the faces you like.
They're all lovely anyway.
Yes, exactly. Well said, James. Well said. 10 minutes to go. We'll finish with fireworks. We started with fireworks. We'll finish.
Are we going to do a countdown?
We've got deer frolicking as well. Pete sent us some video footage of deer frolicking in his backyard. Not a euphemism.
Sounds like
dad jokes to come
to their own devices.
And please, I don't know if you have found it or whether you've seen it, but I sent something on WhatsApp this morning that is appropriate for the day. That is just kind of fun.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have a look at that as well. So, any more of these? I mean, let's not get too hung up on the fact that they might be resolutions. But I love that one, Pam or Pamarella. My New Year's resolution to eat out in a new restaurant every month, visiting a new town every month. I mean, we've got so much to enjoy here in Portugal. What else have we got here? Surely you mean every week. Portuguese restaurants are usually embarrassingly modestly priced. Long may it continue. And the more we go, the more we're supporting that particular part of the economy, it has to be said as well. Our next road trip, João de Norte says, is to the Caldas Romanas de Band, the ancient Roman bath for the legionnaires, just across the border in Spain from the Gerês. That sounds lovely.
Sounds
Doesn't that sound
yeah.
great? We might be able to... You see, if we go to Braga in May, or when we go to Braga in May, you start thinking of things, I could do that, I could do that on the same trip. But it's always been so complicated, isn't it? Trying to do too many things on these particular road trips.
Definitely.
So we have to do more road trips in that case. Smash the like button. And a bon dia, Mrs. M. Wishing you a happy new year. Yes, Antonio F came in.
Antonio! I have to do that.
You do. Buddy also, I'm not sure if we said good morning to you, Buddy, in Iceland. There. Can you see yourself now, Mrs. M?
No.
You still can't.
No,
okay.
Oh, hang on.
We can see you.
We can see you. Be very careful. Antonio F, good morning to you. Thank you for being a marvelous part of this community. You also said, oh, okay. I'll find your original comment. There we go. Bom dia. A todos e feliz ano novo. And on the subject of names, you're right, Carl. Portuguese men can have Maria in their name, like João Maria, but it's not really common. And also women can have male names like Maria João or
there we go.
There we go. Thank you for the education, Antonio. Looking forward to more of that this year. Thank you to our Portuguese friends who join us, who bother with us in this way. Thank you so much, Rui, Urico, and Antonio F, to name a few this morning. Happy New Year, friends, from Nicole, the Saudade Life. Nicole, lovely to see you here as well this morning. And are those baths in Badajoz? We are planning to go there soon. What do you do when you go to a Roman bath? Do you sit there? Because they always used to use the lavatory together, didn't they? I think those early Roman toilets. Everyone would be sat there defecating happily side by side. It's amazing how our culture can change. Would you want to reenact that? Or are there other parts of Roman culture, James or Louisa, that you would prefer to reenact? Orgy, perhaps?
No. It wasn't on my list of resolutions.
Or defecating communally or an orgy? I mean, yes. The Romans build a straight road then. Why not build a straight road while you're there? or whatever. Okay.
I like the idea of more discussions. You know, like we're led to believe that the Romans like talked lots.
Yes.
And kind of studied and shared a lot. And
what, philosophizing?
Yeah.
The great Roman thinkers.
Yeah.
In hot baths. A large group of men in a hot bath.
I'm very happy to hot bath, but I don't want to share it.
No, okay, fair enough. That's a lead balloon, that idea.
Yeah, not for me.
Instead of being overwhelmed and tired by trips to Lisbon, we now have regular trips and just aim to do one. That's a very good strategy. You can overdo it, can't you, by trying to squeeze too much in? Yeah. And you can always go again, can't you, another time?
We went to Cascais, didn't we, last week?
We did.
Which is really sweet.
I've still got the parking ticket to prove it. Yeah. The machine was out of order, wasn't it? The machine was definitely out of order. I thought it was free parking over the holiday. And I went online to try and pay the ticket, and they kind of tricked me into admitting that I've committed a crime. It's quite a lengthy process.
Seriously.
And now they're going to send me a registered letter now that I've fessed up to giving. It's been a weird situation. Anyway, I won't go on.
You know, there's a number where you can speak to somebody in English on the bottom of that ticket.
You say that now. Where were you when I needed you? I was going through the options. You ring up a Portuguese helpline. And fair enough, there is probably an option to speak to someone in English, but you've got to go through the first 10 options at 100 mile an hour Portuguese first and try and understand those.
Because like when I looked at that ticket, I was quite surprised. It's in Portuguese and then underneath it's in English. Because obviously they get so many people there.
Well, the postman will be delivering a letter soon.
Great, I'll look forward to that doorbell.
There's probably, for this €30 parking fine, I imagine the combined effort of people now involved in this process will total thousands of euros just so that I can pay a €30 fine for parking where I thought I could anyway.
Said you could pay it online. I don't understand why you have to have a letter to do it.
No, you've got to go through this process.
You're supposed to pay within the first week or else it goes up to 100 or 150 euros.
All right. Do you think it might escalate? Stop it. You're worrying me now. And that's something I'm definitely giving up in this year, even more so than I did last year.
Yeah.
Guys, relax about immigration. Nobody cares in Portugal. Do you see all the Brazilians and other South Americans and Africans and Asians worried about mindful migration? Well, I don't know, because I don't know many people. I don't know many Brazilians, well, I know a few. I don't know many South Americans or Africans or Asians, and I want to know more. We want you to join us on the show here with our efforts with the Portugal Migration or Portugal Immigrant Network. We'd love to meet more people from other communities moving to Portugal. I think it's important. Antonio F., take the opportunity to visit Olivença. Olivença, a disputed part of Spain by Portugal. Streets with Portuguese names and people speaking Portuguese in Spain. That's how the whole colonization of Spain begins, you know.
Is it?
If that's indeed a strategy there. Gary!
One road at a time.
Exactly. Yes. Nice and Portuguese. Open a new restaurant with a nice prato do dia, then the next street, then the next street. Next thing you know, we're going to be in, Italy. Happy New Year. Oh, no, it's quite a long way to Italy. For the Summer of Love, I insist you watch the film I sent you. Thank you, Erika. You will understand the situation and perhaps be inspired for your project. Cheers. And I will put your film suggestions on GMP VIP. Rui, from overstayers to straightforward illegalities, nobody cares in Portugal, and the socialist government even tends to legalise everybody in batches. So there you go. We needn't worry about it. If the ticket was in Cascais, I am quite shocked it was in Portuguese at all. Interesting. UN epicenter Cascais. It was nice to pop over, and lovely to see you, Henry and Nina, as well. So in these last few minutes, I think perhaps a mindful migration insight from you both, perhaps a slightly astrologically flavored one from Mrs. M.
Oh, it's a big year astrologically.
Well, we're going to come back to you. Then we'll have Dears Frolicking. No, we'll have James with a mindful migration insight. We'll have you with a bit of astrological flavour. We'll have 3 dad jokes.
Have you actually checked what Pete sent you? It might be he might have sent you something. If the deer are fornicating in nature, that is entirely their business. Yeah.
And I will do a David Attenborough style voiceover.
Okay.
It won't be smutty. It will be just nature. It will be just nature unfolding.
Because Pete likes a joke, and you know it could be a bit of a.
It could be, but I think we've got to. We'll find out when I play it. We'll find it, and we've also got a picture of the Roman baths as well, which also could be a joke. But
did you find my Buddhist-themed New Year's thing that I sent you?
No, I'm going to do that now while you issue us with a mindfully migratory insight to start the new year off, as we mean to continue, James.
Okay. Well, for me, I was reminded. Katia Lima posted a question for the new year asking, what is the biggest dream you have for the new year? So I said, all right, well, I'm going to take that seriously. Biggest dream. And I actually copied it so that I have it verbatim. I replied that we, the world, can finally find a way to take our attention and resources away from hate and war and channel them into taking care of people and the environment. And then I said, what? You did say the biggest. So,
yep, fair enough. Well, thank you for that. Say that again.
That we, the world, can finally find a way to take our attention and resources away from hate and war and channel them into taking care of people and the environment.
Beautiful. Thank you very much for that, James. Here's to a fabulous new year, 2024. And we will expect to see you, the Paddington Bear of, we've been sent a picture of Paddington Bear as well, the Paddington Bear of Portugal.
Well, that's not the Paddington I remember. That's a modern version.
That's an AI generated one very quickly,
yes.
I think. That's Paddington, probably in the more modern time, looking a bit worried as Rui, or whoever it was, suggested that Paddington wouldn't get such a warm welcome in London these days. And here is your meme, the Happy New Now. Very good little mindful reminder there to live in the now whilst we're looking at the past and signing it off and looking forward to the future. Let's also
and doing less when you travel.
Yeah.
All that.
This came in from Pippa in Botswana, I believe. The planet does not need more successful people. The planet desperately needs more peacemakers, healers, restorers, storytellers, and lovers of all kinds, from the Dalai Lama, who had an interesting year, it has to be said, last year. There are some Roman baths, which I suspect used to have a roof on, Mrs. M. We nearly bought
I
somewhere
can't
like
see
that.
them.
Oh, okay. We nearly bought
Is
somewhere
that
like
is that the same water from when the Romans were using it?
Does look like it could do with a little bit of a sluice, quite frankly. And you can imagine what they got up to in there. I think it probably had a roof, and I think me and Mrs. M nearly bought a ruin that looked like that in central Portugal once upon a time.
And I just noticed the sunbather in the upper
What is
left
that
corner.
person doing in the
What?
They're standing there.
They are doing some of that. Some of that special yoga. I think. No, they've got trousers on. Here is another little resolution that came in: is to smile, laugh more. Yes, look at someone laughing, smiling, and you laugh and smile. 2024, the year of smiling and laughing. Deagle, that's from who's not been very well. So we send love to you, Deagle. Thank you very much, Deagle, for your wonderful contributions to this community. And
smiles and laughter to you, Deagle.
Yeah, smiles and laughter, mate, and get well soon. Also, this one that I received, this is from Joao F. At this time of year, the following Japanese proverb always comes to mind, especially at this part. Tears come to my eyes. Joao F, keep it coming, mate. Excellent.
Precisely. That's exactly what I was thinking. Good job.
Yes, your command of Japanese is extraordinary. So, dad jokes then. Let's have those. And then Deer's frolicking and also some more fireworks. Happy 2024. From Sarah, good morning to you. Lovely to see you here. Love to you, Sarah and Dan. Better socialist than Shager lovers. Oh, it's kicking off. The Portuguese are having a row in the chat this morning. From Antonio Lorenzo Antunes, good morning to you. I'm missing lots of political discourse here.
Keep it light. Keep it light.
Oh, it's a first. I think it's maybe this is how the Portuguese people like to start the year, with a bit of a political ding dong this morning. Ding dong. Well done. And Shager is socialist. It's the law. Okay, steady on. That could be some political fighting talk there. It is Chinese, and gobbledygook, which is great. Helpful to have a friend who is a translator. Pete went to forensic detail with that visual dad joke there. Well done. Dad jokes then. We celebrated New Year's Eve with adult beverages, Metamucil and Ensure. You're going to have to translate that for me, James. Are those medication?
Okay. Metamucil is a fiber beverage, so that you have steady, regular bowel movements, and Ensure is a drink that is reinforced with vitamins and minerals and so on for elderly people.
Cheers.
That sounds
Chin,
horrible.
chin,
it's kind of like baby formula for old folks.
Oh, how lovely. The last night, the internet stopped working, so I spent a few hours with my family. We actually did this last night, didn't we, nearly?
Yeah, we did. Me and the kids hung out.
They seem like good people.
They really did seem like good people. That's the great thing. Yeah, we had a great time. They're really, really nice kids.
And the older I get, this is very Barcelos cockerel related. The older I get, the more I understand why roosters scream to start the day. Mrs. M, should they be screaming astrologically the new year? What's it going to be like, 2024?
Oh, it's a big year. Loads of change. Pluto's finally going into the sign of Aquarius. That's marking a new era. He's going to be there for 20 years. So this is going to be heralding a time of AI type interactions and also lots of socialist agendas, lots of ideas of global narratives, global structures, and this, that, and the other. But Pluto in Aquarius is also about independence and also about inventive thinking and shifts like that. So I do think humanity is going to go through some massive shifts in this next year that are going to become fully apparent in about 20 years' time. We've got some really, really big epic things happening early in the year that don't happen that often. So we've got Uranus and Jupiter coming together in April for the first time in 14 years. We've got Chiron on the North Node coming together for the first time in forever. These are all really big
portents.
Yeah, for deep social change, but it all starts internally. So, in terms of going into the new year, I noticed for migrants, people like being away from home, this is a time when we often feel really abandoned and feel really homeless.
What, because of the Christmas effect and looking forward into the new year?
We're in a new place. We're not part of the culture yet, though we're kind of skirting around it. We're no longer part of our own. We're no longer part of the new one that we're like, even, when you've been here for years and years and years, you may well still feel that sense of being in a different place. So I just think the more we can do to be kind to ourselves, the better. What seems apparent astrologically is that we need to build that sense of being at home in ourselves as strongly as possible. That's the best thing that we can do right now.
Thank you very much.
Humble
for that.
opinion.
Feel Good Astrology on YouTube if you want to deep dive into that and the outlook
Yeah.
ahead.
I break it down on a sign by sign basis. So like if you know your star sign, you can just check out that star sign. But it's even better if you know your ascendant. And if you click on my guidance for all 12 signs, there's a chapter called Find Your Ascendant. So if you don't know it, it's as simple as going to a particular web page, putting in a few details, and it will tell you your ascendant, and then you can listen to the sign for that as well.
Very good.
That's more accurate.
Thank you. And I do like the cut of your jib. And
what do you mean?
Well, how you're talking about this, I'm reminded of something I heard over Christmas time. We know what's going to happen, we just don't know when.
Yes.
And this is what astrologers who are also been another thing I heard over Christmas time is astrologers are not fortune tellers, they're misfortune tellers.
Well, it's funny you say that because there's something called the Jupiter Saturn cycle, and the planets cycle and they come together every 20 years. But the point in the sky that these two come together at is quite sensitive, and so when any planet goes over it, it picks up. It almost sets off a chain event of things. So like at the time that they come together, whatever's going on, when something goes over it at a later date, that situation seems to explode a lot more. So in 2000, Jupiter and Saturn came together. Now, the point that they came together at is where Jupiter and Uranus are meeting up this year for the first time in 14 years. So I'm expecting, given that Jupiter's about well-being and expansion, and Uranus is about technology and insight and inventiveness and social ideals and things like that, I think there could be this massive change in terms of the way we're using technology, but also banking. Uranus, this point, when Jupiter and Saturn came together, was around the time that Euro was adopted throughout the whole of Europe. So in April time, there is potentially this massive planetary shift to do with Europe, the way Europe is funded, the way we use our currency. I see like really deep shifts going on. But then, Pluto's going into a sign of Aquarius. The last time Jupiter and Saturn got together was right before the massive change that we went through in terms of that medical advice that most people around the world took. It happened just before then. So it's interesting that Pluto, that talks about death, dying, pandemics, Pluto's a massive pandemic
back on the agenda.
I think the mechanics of what we went through back then is going to be reignited. Now, Jupiter goes into Aquarius at the end of January, but also later on, because he kind of goes back into Capricorn. Then later on the 20th of November, he's back in. So I think there's going to be a lot of these Euro things coming up. Yeah, but that's what you're talking about.
Bigger picture for the specs who are living on the spec, who are just a speck in the specky universe, as James was talking about.
Well, we all are specks. We are
true.
all these little specks.
But we are you can see a little mote of a speck of dust floating in your window sometimes, can't you, as the sunshine's coming in. And then the astrology, if you like, those effects could be like drafts, where that little mote that's just floating there suddenly gets a cross draft and is blown quite vigorously across the room. That this might be us. And I know we can't stop talking this morning. It's way past 10 o'clock.
I think I love your analogy of how the specs get like shifted across. I think of it in terms of use the energy coming in, or it uses you.
Float.
So for instance, like if I remember years ago, I used to manage a campsite in France, and we had this hurricane season come in, and we were digging moats around all of the
different kind of moat.
A different kind of moat. I was digging moats around all the tents, so that as the rain came in,
we had a water feature.
We had a water feature, and we wouldn't be damaged by it. So we were using the water that we knew was coming in. But now, from an astrological perspective, if I knew that was happening each season, I would also design a soakaway and plant a load of blueberries. So every time the hurricane came, instead of spelling disaster, we would use that water to nourish what we wanted to grow. So there's a lot of change energy coming in this year, lots of revolution energy coming in, lots of getting back to your roots, getting back to your core beliefs energy. If I was in your shoes right now, I would choose to engage in doing that myself, because my experience and what I've learned from my clients is where we use the energy, where we're aware that shift is happening and that we are going through, some migrants, for instance, they come over and they recreate the same life that they had back home in their new place. What I would invite them to do right now is to kind of almost ditch that and live more in accordance to what's required here. It's that kind of change, like not half doing the change, but going the full Monty, going that full mile, like really going for it. So, if you're somebody who's been slightly blocked and slightly holding back, this isn't the year to do it. This is the year to go full into your transformation, because where we don't do that change energy comes at us anyway. And if you are that mote, like the little speck that you're talking about,
floating in the sunshine, the shaft of sunshine.
So you can take your little speckiness in any direction you want, and then you are part of that journey. You're consciously changing it. But if you're not doing anything, when that shift energy comes in,
you'll be blown mercilessly across the
exactly. So I think this is a year for deep change and empowerment and
surfing, you might say. Coming back to James,
and that's exactly the image I got, was facing a wave and deciding to just stand there or turn around and body surf.
Well, yeah, and when you're surfing, you wait for the exact right time. So if you go a little bit too soon, you don't move. If you do it too late, you don't really move. But if you time it just right, and if you're interested in the timings and the flavors of these planetary waves, then just go and check out my videos, and I detail what kind of energy is coming in. If you've got some big projects, some big plans that you want to launch this year or move on, you can work it out.
See, what's come to mind for me at 12 minutes past 10, it's not only have we gone way past the time, I didn't think that would happen this morning, but thank you everybody for being here. Thank you for considering.
Sorry, I've just taken over a little bit there.
Yeah, welcome to the Feel Good Astrology Show, everybody.
Between Louisa and me, you got nothing to worry about. We'll fill up 3 hours if you need it.
Yes. Yeah, but the surfer from California, can talk about this catching the wave thing that might be what's going on at the moment. Also what comes to mind is Ram Dass and the be here now. For foreigners, it's like the emphasis is not on the now, but being here. Be here now. Be where you are and embrace what being here means. That might be, Ram Dass reinterpreted, or Timothy Leary, whoever it was, for being here now as we look forward as a foreigner, basically a foreigner migrant expat community. Be here now.
Well, seeing as I can't see, when you say be here now, I'm hearing the here.
Yeah.
And actually, if we were really hearing in the now and like silencing ourselves to a lot of things, like if we were just like really in the moment, really tuning into what's going on around us, I think most people would realize that there is this kind of slightly choppiness. There's this slightly edgy feeling, which is what animals are aware of. Like we're always, nature knows what's coming up. It seems to sense it. And if we were really hearing now, we might start making choices that are more in alignment with what's going on.
All right, people have got to go, but we have. I mean, this is interesting. These are nice words from Roy. P.S. I don't know if that's P.S. a social party or postscript. The Portuguese do not blame immigrants for high property prices. Portugal is now opening to international money flows. This would be an inevitable. Problem is low salary. So here's to Portuguese people earning more this year, and also how we can connect politics to the changes in the world and society, as you've been talking about through astrology. We're just seeing over and over again, aren't we? Socialist, useless, Shaker, equally bad, opportunistic, yet entertaining, and a kick in the system. We're seeing that all over the world, but we're also seeing how the social systems, socialistic systems, political systems aren't serving us. So perhaps there's an opening for a new kind of political system to come in.
May I also add something?
Nope, sorry, we've got to go.
Portugal's going through its Chiron return this year.
Oh, okay. So yes, that sounds like a program in its own right. Okay, so yes, you can add something. Jim did an I Ching. It sounded like he was a bit itchy when I first read that, but he did an I Ching. read it. It teaches us how to come into possession of our joy. In search for success and happiness, we are prone to think that we must take aggressive actions to achieve them. Perhaps not. The instruction then of the I Ching is to do just the opposite. Only those who practice innocence, acceptance, and detachment inherit true joy in this world. Yes, it's not like putting your foot down when you're in the car. The opposite happens, doesn't it? If you accelerate in the cosmic, you go even slower, I think. And look at this. Who knew that Rui would be politically edgy and know that he was an Aries with a Capricorn ascendant? What should he do in the age of Aquarius?
Oh, well, it should get much easier for you, actually, because
there you go. That's nice.
Pluto's finally moving out of your sign. The emphasis will be turning on to money and resources, but it feels less spiky for you because over the last 15 years or so, there's been a lot of transformation going on in terms of who you are and how you're seen and how you're experienced.
He wasn't expecting that.
Early April is a really, really big time for you, according to when your actual birthday is. There's a massive total solar eclipse on the 8th, and on the 16th and 17th of April, there's some massive shifts, and also on the 21st, and that's all in this sort of Aries area. So I don't know, we could talk offline if you're interested.
We can't do individual consultations for everybody if you're interested, we're way past time.
Just
James, thank you.
Wait.
He's got something else to add here. Felicia Nova from Ocean Toilet Aviva. Good morning to you. And it looks like the Spurs Villa had a transit in their anus or something similar because their match is postponed because of snow. How about that? God. That's incredible, isn't it? So we are going to unwind now. We'll finish with some fireworks, but before then, some deer frolicking in Pete's backyard.
Oh, I can't see it. I need to
come and stand next to me here. So not a euphemism. We're actually going to see some deer frolicking in Pete's backyard. James, we'll see you next Monday. Thank you so much for being here this morning, my friend.
Always a pleasure.
Okay, and we'll see you soon. Have a great day in Ericeira. And let's have a look at these deer now, shall we? Where are they? Where have they gone? They're very timid and hard to find creatures, but I think I've located them here. Stick around for some fireworks after this, which will frighten the deer away.
Fireworks and frolicking.
Fireworks and frolicking. Take care. Bye for now. And we'll see you in the morning. Ciao, ciao.
There's a YouTube show full of fun and facts you need to know. Carl brings the book and the members show to the GMP Morning Show. guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show at GMP. Hey, Gumpers.